It wasn't that it was too young for me, it was that it was just not a good age. 12, it always felt like when I was 12, I was still 11, 10, 9, 8, like all of those, plus 14, 15, 16, like all the ages.
Yeah.
It just changed a lot.
I get a lot of freedom, but I also don't have to pay taxes.
What's your favorite thing about being the age that you are now that like maybe wouldn't have been true for you a few years ago?
Definitely driving. I'm 16, so I got my license recently, and oh my goodness, the amount of opportunities like sometimes I'll just go drive to the store. I won't buy anything, but I'll just go drive to it because I can, and I'll just walk around and I'll be like, oh, look at all this. So, oh, sorry about that, my phone went off. But yeah, definitely a license.
The tween years, an age of becoming, a time of transformation, a moment when the world feels bigger, louder, and more complicated. And yet, these kids are discovering who they are, what they love, and how they fit in.
My name is Bright Travis. I'm 16 years old. Yeah, so I went to public school my whole life, like K through 8, and then freshman year I was still in public school, and then my sophomore year, I think my parents wanted me to a new environment, like a nicer environment, better education, stuff like that. So I moved from public school to private school. It was really hard because the kids there were very cliquey. You know, they had known each other their whole lives, and I was like a newcomer, and so it was pretty hard. Even now, I still am struggling. Like, I still don't even know some of the people's names, and like I've been here for over a year now, but it's getting better. It's moving to a new school. Like at first, I really hated it, but it's opened so many doors for me. Like I would have never done the play or theater or any of that had it not been for this school and me coming here. So probably there were okay. So I met someone named Wyatt. I met a guy named Wyatt Mead, and he guided me through the entire school, and he's like one of my best friends now. It was honestly if it weren't for him and this other dude named Ben, I would have been completely lost. But also like just doing things I liked also helped. Like when I'd get home, just playing the guitar or the bass, like that would just like make me calm down. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So first, just tell me about like your hobbies and your interests, like just the things you like to do, what's fun to you, what kind of things do you do in your spare time?
I like to draw and I like to play with my dog a lot. I did cross country and the season just ended, and then I'm doing track in March. In PE, I would always like try to outrun everybody, and my coach was like, "Oh, you're really good at running." I was like, "Oh, thank you." So I kind of like took that. I was like, maybe I could. So I did. It's just I kind of want to like test myself. We do like 5 miles a day, I think, and it's kind of rough. And sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. It just depends on the day.
I like to write poetry the most. Whatever I'm thinking at the moment, that's what I write about. I always think keeping a journal will help you no matter what you're going through because no one else is going to read it. It's just for you. And then when you're doing better, you can like look back and realize that you're doing better. When I'm having a hard time, a lot of the time I will call or text my friend Sophia or my friend Sam. Yeah. Or my dog.
I like to do video games. I do jujitsu, TV shows. It doesn't really matter. And I really like mythology books. I like jazz. I play some instruments.
What made you decide to do like band versus, doing something else?
It's because my dad and my grandpa were both in bands, so I guess it was just natural for me to do it. I mean, just do it. Nobody cares if you don't do it or not. If it's fun, then do it for you.
My hobbies are horseback riding. I love horseback riding and how it makes me feel. Like it just makes me feel free and it's just me and the horse. And I like doing art. I've always liked it and I like basically anything. I don't have one specific thing I like to do. And then I play soccer and I've played soccer my whole life and it's just really fun. I've always loved horses. One time at the fair, they let me get on a horse and ride it a little bit, and that was really fun. And my neighbor, she's ridden for her whole life, And one time she took me out, and then I started lessons because I just loved it so much. And that's been like 3 years ago. So yeah. I mostly do like English writing, dressage, and jumping, and it's still like one of my favorite things to do. Jumping is basically there are 2 poles across, and then your horse has to like jump over them. And when I am jumping and I'm like nervous, I usually just mainly focus on just doing it for fun. Like I'm not doing it for something or someone, just for fun. And I try to not pay attention. Like if I do something wrong, I'm like, it's okay. I'll move on and do it better next time. Try to be your best self. Be yourself. Don't try to be what someone else wants you to be, and don't hang out with the people that make you feel bad about yourself or like not worthy of what you like do.
So for a long time I did football and basketball. Now I just do football. And then last year I recently started track. Hobbies, as far as hobbies go, really just football.
What are some of your favorite things about the sport?
The brotherhood for sure. Football is it's a sport kind of just like basketball. You can have one player be really, really good and affect the game, but at the end of the day, if all the parts of the machine are working, you're not gonna win. Hopefully go to college, get a scholarship, probably stay a whole full 4 years there. At least get my bachelor's in something, hopefully something in engineering, preferably electrical engineering. NFL, like obviously that's everybody's goal, but yeah. I'm not looking forward to too much, probably just driving. That's really it. Going to college will obviously be fun, but being away from family is obviously gonna be hard. You know, people don't really think about that when they go to college.
Is there anything else you want to talk about that I didn't ask you, or that you want to say, or that you want people to know about you?
That everything I do, Jesus has to be first, because if I don't put him first, then the fruit of my life will kind of mean nothing. It'll just be a lost cause, without him. It's all for nothing, I guess.
I do it mostly when I'm bored, just because I see, oh, here's a pencil, here's paper, why not do something with it? And so usually I just like make little lines and stuff like that. Flowers or like vines or something. So I'm bad at drawing people, but I think I'm better at drawing plants and stuff like that. But yeah, that is what I like about art. I am a big fan of the Hunger Games. And music, I like to listen to Taylor Swift and like Olivia Rodrigo. And books, I like books by Raina Telgemeier. I like a lot of graphic novels and stuff. I like to standing up for people, and if I'm gonna get a job, at least like let me do it right. Instead of being like, you know what, I don't care, I'm getting paid either way.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about being the age you are now? Like also maybe that, different from when you were younger,
I'm now like looked at my age, like I'm looked at older and not so young, and that I'm definitely with dance. There's a bunch of little kids that look up to me. And it's like so cute to not that long ago I heard a little girl say, I want to be you whenever I grow up, and it was the sweetest thing ever. And I know I definitely wouldn't get that if I was younger. I'm the youngest certified scuba diver in the country. I started scuba diving by my grandpa and my uncle starting. Whenever we would go on trips, they were always on dives, so I went whenever I was old enough. And then the first dive that I went on, I was really scared because I thought that like everything was gonna go wrong or something. But then I got back up out of the water, we took all our gear off,
And then I realized that I really enjoyed it. Just don't do something that you don't want to do, because I tried a bunch of other sports, and I did basketball for a long time, and I didn't really enjoy it. I mainly did it for people that wanted me to start because my family is really big on basketball. But that whole time I was missing dance so much, and whenever I got back into dancing, I was so happy.
There's definitely something about being that aging up and having more maturity. You realize things that old people you were friends with or old people that you knew, and you realize that things that they have done, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't excuse that behavior because it has actually hurt me more than I think it did at the time. Because even last year when I was 14, I just aged up. And there's definitely things that I realized last year that some of my friends did that I kind of dismissed at the time, that now I'm kind of looking back on it and maybe that wasn't really a good thing. But I would definitely say realizing that some people will do things and at the time you'll dismiss it and think it is fine or it's right or it's whatever, it's your friends, that's just how they act. And then maturing, you kind of realize that those things aren't right, and kind of sticking up for yourself and being like, hey, you shouldn't do that, that's not right. My favorite things about swim would definitely have to be the team, community. And practices are really cool too. You get to hang out with all your friends for 2 hours, even though sometimes they can be a little strenuous, but I do love it, and it's super fun.
I feel like my age 11 is a good place to start learning and making new friends, and honestly being yourself and being confident, because 11 is the age where some people can be sometimes rude or judgy is the way I would say it, and there's some other 11-year-olds that don't have a care of what people say to them unless it's positive or anything like that. If someone was doing what they love and they get hurt or something bad happens, I would say if you truly love that sport, hobby, etc., you get going and try again as hard as you can, no matter how long it takes you to heal or anything like that. Try again, because if you really have a passion for it, you wouldn't leave it.
Some things that are great about being the age I am now is I get to do a lot more things with a lot of other people. Like I get to go to sleepovers now, which I didn't get to do a couple years ago. I get trusted with bigger responsibilities. I am proud of myself because I've grown a lot in school. There's times where I'll be not doing so well, and then my mom and my dad will sit me down and they'll be like, hey, we checked your grades, they need some work. And I'll go to school, and then the next day I'll just be like, okay, I gotta get this and this and this done, and then I'll do this and this tomorrow. And I just slowly work my way up. And the other day my grade was, I think, a 52, and I raised it up to a 79. So I was like really proud of myself about that. Also something I love about being my age now versus a couple years ago is now I kind of get to decide what I do with my hair, when it comes to getting it done. Like my mom still is like, hey, that might be a little too much. How about we try this? But that's one hobby I have is singing. I love singing. I was singing a lot over here actually. I got interested in lacrosse in about 3rd grade. I just wanted to do something new, and my dad had taught me about it, and we were trying to find different teams, but none of them worked out. And then we figured out Jinx was a team, and I tried out and ended up loving it, and I've done it ever since. It's just it's a way to have fun, but also while doing something active. So Well, what I love about being my age right now is where I'm not at the age where like I don't have any responsibilities at all, but at the same time I'm not at the age where it's like I have so many responsibilities that I have to keep up with. Well, some of my favorite things to do are I love piano, creating jewelry, dance. Well, books. I read a lot of novels. Kiki's Delivery Service is one of them. Music. I like rock music. What I like about learning to play piano is how just whenever I come home from piano lesson, whenever I like play the song and I like play the whole song, it just like it makes me feel happy and almost like proud of myself when I do it. Well, I do in dance. I do contemporary and pre-point, and pre-point is probably my favorite out of all those because it's like ballet almost. I love ballet.
I want to be a professional musician, like one of the greats, but I'm also fine with like ending up as a music teacher. Like both is a dream for me. Like being a famous musician and then ending up as just like a minimum wage music teacher is both perfectly fine with me as long as I get to spread inspiration and like the gift of music to people. It's my dream. I do a lot of music stuff and a lot of art based things. So I just do I do marching band. I do live performances at jazz clubs. I do jam sessions at like coffee houses. I just do a lot of things that are art and music based. Anything that I can go to that is art and music based. I first like learned about graffiti art just looking around the town and seeing a lot of artists, and I thought that it's really cool the way that they're just breaking the society norms of just like following all the rules and doing everything they're told, but also doing that in a like constructive way, like spreading art and this art style and this culture instead of just like breaking the rules, like robbing banks and stuff. Like they're actually doing positive things with breaking the rules. And I find that really cool. In the older generations, they made things like new fashion and new music, like jazz, for example, and that was a boundary being broken. And a lot of like when I see some of my friends that wear like a lot of jewelry, like septum piercings and tattoos and all that stuff, a lot of their grandparents and older people are like, "Oh, I don't like that at all." And it's not the same boundary, but both of those are breaking boundaries just in different ways.
I don't know why. I've just never really cared what other people think about how I look or what I do. I think it's just the fact how I was raised. Don't worry, do what makes you happy. Don't try to impress other people. Don't try to make other people like you. Find people who like what you like and who accept you for who you are. I like cards. I like to collect them, and I love crafts, and crafts as in drawings or needlepoint or crochet, stuff like that. I listen to all different types of stuff. I listen to some 80s and 90s. I listen to the Beatles, like AJR, stuff like that.
You're unique the way you are. Don't try to change yourself because you're beautiful just the way you are. I'm sassy, I'm unique, and I am my own person, and nobody can tell me what I can't and can't do. I was 5 when I started cheer, and what I love about it is I love meeting new friends and doing new things.
What would you say is if you had to pick one thing that's your most favorite thing about cheer, what is it?
It's flying. Flying is where you go up into a stunt and they do different like motions and skills with you up there. And for some kids it's really hard, but for me it's easy.
Yeah. Why is flying your favorite thing?
Because I get to go up and show all my sass and my skills.
Yeah. Do you ever get nervous doing the flying stuff?
Yes. Sometimes I get scared, like I'm gonna get dropped.
Yeah.
So I made this little guy, a while ago. His name is Larry. He's a hairball. And I just pulled out some hair from a hairbrush. I was gonna throw it away, but then I was like, I could make something out of this. And so this thing happened.
Awesome.
This thing. Some people ask a question, hey, what's the meaning of life? There's no meaning of life. You make a meaning for your own life, is what I think. And that's kind of what I did with Larry here, is I turned him into something that actually has a meaning instead of just a hairball that you throw away in the trash can. So I like how when I come across a problem, I can solve it or just redo it and get past it. Or sometimes I fail, and that's normal. It's a human thing to do. So.
Who or what do you turn to when you're going through a difficult time, and what kind of things like inspire and uplift you?
I usually draw kind of an art piece of how I feel, and then I sometimes dig deeper into it, and then I draw it again, and I just make it an original art piece that stems from my feelings, and it kind of helps me like get through what I'm going through, and it helps kind of distinguish what's happening with other people too, because you can see it in other people sometimes when their emotions act the same way as yours. That's kind of like art. I kind of want to dedicate a part of this to my theater camp, and it's Clark Youth. Check it out, it's cool. So if you're ever like nervous or you want to try something new but you don't know what to do, you can try musical theater.
Well, I really I'm starting to like get into like vet stuff. Like I want to be like a horse vet when I'm older. At one of my scout camps, there was like this, there was like a horse farm there, and there was like a whole bunch of horses that were injured and stuff. And since I ride horses, and she was once from our troop, so like she was kind of like letting us get like the insides of it, and so I was there watching her, and I helped out a little bit, and I just liked it. I was really young when I started Scouts. I started as, I think, a cub. And me and my friends all started when we were little, like whenever they started letting girls in. And so we just kept on going, and some of the girls quit, but I like the outdoorsy stuff that we did. It teaches me about like survival and like what to do in like those situations, and it just kind of like prepares me. As I get older, I want to like hit Eagle and Scout, so I can. And some colleges like offer like a scholarship with that.
Some of the things that I do, like hobbies, I'm in band, so I play flute, and I practice that like every day. And I draw sometimes. I have like apps on my phone where I draw, and then sometimes I draw on paper too, but I read a lot too. So scoliosis is a curvature of the spine. I was diagnosed in 5th grade, and then I braced for 5th grade, all of 6th grade. That was hard. And then I think some of 7th grade, but not very much of it. I remember being in 5th grade, I was 10. I didn't quite understand embarrassment yet, so I kind of wore it over my clothes, and I wasn't very scared about it. I was like, this is just a part of me. And I wasn't embarrassed about it yet. And then I got to middle school, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a freak, and everyone's gonna hate me. And so I wore it under my clothes, and I didn't tell anybody about it who I didn't already know, who didn't already know. And I was really, really scared about it. And like, all of 6th grade, I just hid it from everyone. I remember in 6th grade when I had that brace, being so dedicated to flute playing. I was like top of my class. I was so good at it because I found that music really helped with that. And playing flute was something that I could do, and there were some things that I couldn't, still are. But that's something that I can do. And it was just very motivating to be like, this is something that you can do that you're good at. And it grounded me.
Okay, so some of my favorite things about field hockey is that like it's pretty hard to like know like someone else that like plays field hockey, so it's like different. And another one of my favorite things is that like there's so many positions that you can just like try out. That like sometimes every single practice can be different. And yeah, those are like my favorite things. So one thing that I just find motivation about is just like going, because you never know like how good a practice is, like how bad the practice is. You just have to go and be positive about it and like try to like meet up with your friends and like just be kind. My favorite thing about dance is probably like hanging out with friends and like learning new choreography, because it's different and you have to like get used to it, and then like just like practicing it is straight up fun. And then especially in like the newer like months, like you don't know what your music is and like you don't know what the choreography is, so you can like learn from each other, and then we can like try to like work together to figure it out instead of just like our teacher doing it. So it was mostly in 6th grade. I don't really experience it now, but there were like specific, like they were not girls mostly. It was just boys, and it was mostly in like sports and like outside at recess. It was like just there, and then they would say things like, "Oh, shut up, you stupid ginger," or like something like that, and then like. It also happened this year too, because like the leprechaun thing started happening, and then they would just keep calling me that. So, and then, yeah, that's pretty much all. I just like kind of try to ignore it, I guess.
And then, how do you feel about your red hair?
I like it. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm so different. I feel weird in like this like awkward group. But I really like how it's like rare and like how I'm somewhat different. Probably my friends, because they, most of them have sometimes experienced the same thing, especially with like the bullying thing. Most of my friends can understand like the person's rude, like that person is rude. And Logan, always cheers me up when I'm having a bad day. Like I could go like tell her some like drama and she'd be like, "Don't worry about it, it's okay." And then my mom, obviously, she like cheers me up all the time.
So I like to go fishing when I can. I like to go hiking a lot. I like to swim when I can. I like building Legos, like cars. I like a lot of things that boys like, but I'm not like super into sports. I like football though and basketball, but I don't really play them very often.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about fishing? Like, what about it do you like so much?
I like the just, being out and it's calm, and then every now and then you might get a fish, but maybe not, and then it's relaxing, it's peaceful.
Yeah.
I'm not really too sure of the timeline, but somewhere whenever I was pretty young, 4 or 5 years old, I was taken away from my biological mom. I'm not really quite sure why. I was put into a home with 2 older people. I don't remember a lot from when I was very young. I just remember that we were not allowed to talk back, which talking back was just answering any of their questions. And there were a few instances where she had brought out a knife onto my older brother. And he was I think he was probably 13, 14 at the time. And he always tried to protect us. We had a foster workers or DHS workers come out like once every twice a month, and they'd ask, how's it living there? Are you all right? And we'd always just say yes, it's fine. But we were just too scared to say the right answer. Then, I think 2019, whenever Sand Springs flooded, we were moved into a church, and it all kind of really fell apart from there. Granny had gotten really violent, and she had choked one of my younger brothers, or my older brother, and the police were called, and the church helped us to get to where I am now. They really showed a lot of support, and I met a lot of good people. I think a lot of people my age, they kind of are self-reliant. They don't feel like they need to talk about their emotions. They're always kind of told, boys don't cry and stuff. They do cry. And I think that, it's important that if you're going through something, whether it be, in school, at home, with a friend, with anybody, I think talking to your parents is the first thing that you should do instead of just bottling it up and letting it fester. I think that talking to my parents about things that I've gone through has helped me get over them 10 times faster than just, sitting in my room contemplating. I think it's best to tell someone the first thing. Because, if nobody knows, they can't help you. There have been a lot of times in my past where people have come over and they've asked if I'm okay, if I'm doing all right, am I eating enough, stuff like that. And I've always just responded, yes, I'm fine. But, I wasn't. And I feel like I could have got help a lot sooner if I just told somebody.
My hobbies are playing oboe, running and cross country, and doing English horse riding. I like reading enemies to lover books, and I like listening to pop music. I like that she's beautiful and a good role model, and I want to be like her one day. Leptomutism is an anxiety disorder that causes you to freeze and you can't control it. Some people think we're doing it on purpose when we're really not, because we can't really control it.
What's your favorite thing about being the age you are now that maybe wasn't true for you like a few years ago?
That I'm officially a teenager and that I feel like I get more respect from adults and that my voice is finally heard.
What are you most looking forward to in the next 5 years?
I want to get early scholarships and get good grades into medical school, mostly Harvard or Princeton, to become a pediatric oncologist.
I love to do art and dance. Those are my favorite things. I like books and movies. My favorite movie is probably Pirates of the Caribbean. I like to do abstract painting is some of my favorite, and then I like using oil pastels. I was young, maybe 3 whenever I started painting. So basically dyslexia it makes reading really hard and spelling as well. But for me, whenever I try to read a book, the words will start moving off the page, basically. At first it's really hard, but it gets so much easier.
Okay, who or what do you turn to when you are going through a difficult time? What kind of things inspire and uplift you?
My dogs. I usually just lay in bed and snuggle with my dogs. Or I usually call my best friend. Some of my things about myself that I love are my hair and that I'm artistic.
I have a metaphobia, which is the fear of throwing up or seeing other people throw up. I think most adults don't really believe that kids can have depression, mental illnesses or stuff that because you're supposed to be having fun when you're younger. So I feel like they don't really believe in that stuff, which makes it hard for them to help you with a lot of things. That kids can have pretty bad mental illnesses. It doesn't always go away really quick.
just to like give kids that have like anxiety like me to still have faith in getting better, because you can get better. So yeah, like put your faith in Jesus, because he will like help you through that entire way, and I think that's how I'm like here now.
Remember when you were young and your parents hated you and they thought you were stupid and they thought that you were sensitive and you don't have it as rough as they did, and remember how, they kind of hurt you and messed you up? You're looking a lot like your dad right now. You're looking a lot like your mom. Sorry to break it to you. I had unsupervised access to the internet as a child. So I was that weird kid. You know the weird kid that you meet at school, they like anime, and they were running around and drawing weird pictures. That was me. I've toned down over the years, but it's still me. I like comic books. I like art. I'm a big fan of music. I'm a huge fan of music. Like one of the first times I ever went to a play and just like saw a live orchestra, I just kept getting chills like every single moment, because live music is how you listen to music. You do not, until you can like feel each individual instrument melding together to create beauty, it's not how you listen to it. And listening to record is the closest you're gonna get to listening to live music. It doesn't work on Spotify. It ain't gonna work on Amazon Music. It's not gonna work on YouTube unless you're listening live or you're listening to records. You are not going to get the same experience. Your culture is what you come from. And what you come from influences to what you are. I've lived most of my life in South America. My mom, she's from Wyoming, and my dad, he's from El Salvador. So I'm mixed. I don't look it like I look very white. I speak Spanish fluently. Growing up in many different countries really gives you just a different perspective on so many different things, and I feel like that's what I appreciate the most. And like, I'm 15. There's nothing I can do, and that makes me like, I've cried over my friends and their issues. Like, I feel like there's no empathy nowadays. People are people. It doesn't matter like who they are, what they identify as, like the color of their skin is, what language they speak, what political party they identify with. Like, that is a living human person that you are hating. For you to be content, you're gonna have to make other people unhappy. And that should not matter to you.
Bullying is a lot different than what it used to be. Because now with the internet, someone could block your account, you can make another one and continue to bully them. Or people just are completely anonymous. And you can't really confront them. And because some people on the internet are so resilient with their hate, it becomes a lot more, a lot harder to get like your mind in the right place when there's so much hate coming towards you. I can look however I want and still identify how I feel. You don't have to look one way to identify as a way. That's something people often forget. As an adult, if you really want to help a kid who you think is going through that, who is going through that, be kind. Listen to them. If they say this is happening at home or this is happening online, believe them. When I was going through a really dark time, it was having an adult who you know believes you, who you know you can trust and talk to and will be there for you. That's one of the best things that they can do, because in the end it's sort of their mind that they have to fight. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's sort of their mind they have to fight, and it's really important to just know that someone's gonna be fighting with you. I am really into reading. That's a huge one. I also really enjoy figure skating and hanging around my friends.
Tell me about figure skating. Tell me how long you've been doing that stuff.
I started figure skating in late July, early August of 2021. So I went skating with my friend. I fell in love with it and I stuck with it. And it's something that really helps me clear my mind and relax.
Well, you see, I like art, photography, and stop motion. I also like to post on social media sometimes. Pretty fun. Oh, just like pencil drawings on my sketchbook. I like Dragon Ball, you know. Oh, I create skits with my action figures to post on TikTok and YouTube. I was bullied even at the first day of kindergarten. I mean, I was bullied for really everything. A lot, especially appearance, like even for wearing yellow. Well, I'd never been treated like that before, so I really didn't know why they were picking on me. So I went home to my mom and I asked her why this was, and she helped me realize that it's because their hearts hurt. So I actually, like the next day, I went to that same kid and I reached out and asked what's wrong and could I help? Oh, it was really well received, actually. I mean, I made friends with a lot of these kids and ended up helping them. Well, the book is actually based off of a true story from when I was 5 years old. I wrote it when I was 9 years old. I actually wrote it for a playwright competition for a theater. And they actually did make it into one of those. And yeah, it just so happened to perfectly fit in with what we were doing. You should always be different. And different is good. You don't want to blend in.
I love hanging out with my friends and going to concerts. And then learning more stuff about NASA on the website. So it used to be like being an astronaut, but it slowly changed into helping building stuff, like building the shuttles and stuff, and then into them actually going into space and navigating. Yeah, there's not, I don't know, there's most of the men in the industry, they think that they're better than the women because, yeah, but someone that I go to match my energy is like my mom, my aunt, my friends. They get it because how long I've been talking about it, so they just let me, but I feel like being a teenage girl at my age right now is super, like, I'm not a kid, and I know that I can, like, talk to mom, and she's really, like, she has my location, so she trusts me when I go somewhere, so that's pretty fun, and it's just, I like where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years, I'm really excited for me driving, graduating, and getting into college.
My goals for modeling are to make this a career. The real reason why I even wanted to really act when I was young was so I could make generational wealth for my family. Because I look up to my grandfather like a lot, and a lot of stuff he talks about is generational wealth, being a man, and serving God. And I just like to look up to those three things, and so representation is very important. A lot of things that like more associated with like culture, anybody's culture. When associated with your culture, you gotta realize I have ancestors who are from this culture. I have ancestors who celebrated these things, and it would be so wrong for me not to celebrate them and do the things for them because they went through all this for me, and it's like I gotta say thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for doing this for me. I'm very thankful, and this is how I'm going to contribute to you. When I was younger, there's a lot of stuff that I wish I could prevent, but I really couldn't because I was too young. I was weak. I was feeble. I just couldn't. I couldn't do the things I could do now. But now that I'm older, a lot of stuff that would happen, they're not going to happen now because I'm old enough to stop it.
What are you most looking forward to in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, on a beach with a cup of wine, just chilling.
I'm so done with you. No, he didn't. That's it? No. That's all?
I mean,
I gotta stop laughing before he keeps answering.
I don't know, maybe like another answer?
But also, like, that's fine.
Oh.
Like, that's fine if that's what you're looking forward to. Anything else?
But also, yeah, so what I want you to know about me is that I'm very determined. If you need me, I will try my best to be there. And I will try I'm a man of God. So, that's really all. Yeah.
What I like to do for fun is I like to bake. I like to do my anatomy drawings over like the human body. I've been cheering maybe since I was 4. Yeah, 4. My favorite thing about cheer is probably stunting because I just feel like I'm good at it. Like I can stunt anytime I want and it's just easy. Yeah. One of the hardest things about being adopted is probably trying to figure out who I am as a person and like maybe who my mom is or who my biological sisters are. What I do when I start to like realize that I'm like thinking those things or it's something about that, I turn to my sister. My sister is adopted too, and she's actually like met her biological parents and her sisters and brothers. But she's always helped me with that because it may not always be the best thing or they might not be in the right place. But she just kind of helps me like understand that more. Something I would say to them about like whatever they're feeling is honestly, yeah, it's something you want to like know one day, but like maybe it's for the better that you don't know. And something that kind of helps me is focusing on the things that you do have in life right now and just making the most of that because you grow up so quickly and you don't want to miss anything that like makes you happy in that moment.
Well, I like to just draw pictures and maybe sometimes I'll just sing a song randomly. Kind of just watch shows I like. I play softball, I do dance, I do basketball, and I cheer. I think people describe me as brave, confident, encouraging, like never giving up. I just know that I can like do anything and I believe in myself and I do my best and try to work hard even when it gets tough. I think it's just from me knowing that I can do anything I believe in myself doing. Well, when I was 4 years old, I got diagnosed with an eye condition called Brown syndrome, and my sister was just being born, so it was kind of scary at the time, and they tried lots of things to fix it, and it wasn't working, so I had to go to Oklahoma City to get surgery, and they had to grab my eye and move it around to break all the scar tissue around it.
You know, little kids, I don't know, a lot of other kids maybe that have to have like a surgery or something like that, or they're scared. Like, what would you say to them?
I tell them that just believe that you're going to be okay and think positively and hopefully nothing will happen. I've been playing basketball since like first grade and my favorite part about it is just I can get exercise, but I can just play and run and do all the fun stuff. I've been playing softball since I was like 4 or 5, and also I did have to play a game the night I had surgery for my eye, and I was having to go out and tough it out, and it was kind of hard, but I did it anyway.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
I like to stay home the best in the times. As just had died with the malice and shredded that. Yes, I went about the homelessness, then subjects.
What is something you want people to know about being deaf?
Some parts people that not are the most of us.
What are your favorite things about you?
I've been talking about swimming to that. The has meadows about it has more that our have parents special parents differences and to
What do you want to do after high school?
I'm a director Pepper must be director the moat most touch and then director the driver and power burst and then director the best map director that I have the place when you see the habitation may I have the about yes may I have to must sure may I have the better people that better the has I want to need to sometimes make this that I was sure too.
I like to color. I used to run, but I don't run anymore. I just like to do it by myself. And I used to do color guard. I like color guard. I just haven't done it because I don't have the time. But I do like that. I was really good at the rifle. I like to watch thrillers, and I also like I like comedies a lot and chick flicks. And then music, I like country. I just don't really listen to it anymore. But I also like artists like Brent and Lana Del Rey. So I like to read romance books, and I'm starting to get onto like fantasy, like The Age of Adeline. I like that book. I also like the movie of that. I think it's important to stay true to yourself and not follow other styles, because if you're trying to follow other people, you're not really getting to know yourself. And then that could lead to deeper things, like you just don't know yourself. And then that could lead to like this derealization thing where you just don't like feel real because you don't even know yourself, and it's just like it's not somewhere you'd want to be. So it's just good to stay true to yourself and know yourself instead of trying to be like others. I'm not saying all like the adults don't understand, like most of them do, but some just they say they've been through it too, but like they don't act like it because they just think kids are like kids and they're being overdramatic, but they're really not. Like they have a lot of things going on, and they don't realize that until it gets bad. Like they do something, and they're just very like a lot of them or some of them is just very self-centered, and they're like, we've been through it too, like we know how you're feeling, but they really don't. Like they just think we'll get past it, but it's really hard in the moment. So
What would you say to another young person who is having a really hard time emotionally, but they feel like alone in that?
I think a lot of people go through hard times, even if they look like they are fine, like they're happy. I know people that look completely fine. They have a bunch of friends. Like they look, like they even get a lot of hate for being so popular or like have a lot of friends, but they've actually gone through a lot. Like they're really not okay. To say like it's normal to feel like this and that it's going to be okay, like in the end it's going to be okay. You just have to stay strong. That's what I would say to someone that is younger than me that's going through this, like a hard time.
What I love about being 17 is I'm on the verge of being an adult, but I'm still a child, so it's felt exciting yet confusing, but I get to get away with a few things, but I also get to do some things that I couldn't do before. And it's almost like, it's kind of like living two lives, because right now, an example is I have this abundance of clothes.
it's like I have to have these clothes for my school, like dress code policy, but it's like what am I gonna wear for the rest of my life next year? And so I have, my closet is like half of high school me and half of college me, and it's like, whoa, I don't know. I just have a lot of clothes right now, and that's how my whole life is. Some of the things I've done in the last few years are cheer, which I have managed to be cheer captain for 3 out of 4 years of high school. I've been on my school's girls golf team. I've been on the tennis team for 2 years. I've been on the softball team before. I'm in the EDGE program, which is earn a degree, graduate early, and I'll graduate with my associates in May of 2025, along with my high school diploma. I have been a part of Youth Philanthropy Initiative for the last 3 years, and birthed out of that came Foster Hive, which I'm one of the co-creators of. Me and a friend from church started a Bible study at my school last year. For me, the way I juggle everything that I do, I literally live by work smarter, not harder. So I tell my friends that all the time. I tell my lower classmen that all the time. You just have to find those ways where, not to make shortcuts, but to take out the unnecessary.
Addison Pruitt, 18. I like that I can drive, first of all, and that I'm also, like, legal. So, I mean, if I ever want to have fun, I can go to casino. I don't think I'd ever do that. But it's really fun being young, but also an adult at the same time, because I don't have really any big responsibilities. But I'm also getting to that point to where I'm getting a little bit more responsibility. So it's nice to be able to have fun, but also know what it's like to have to take responsibility for things. But I really just like that I'm young, honestly, still, and get to do a lot of things that other people can't do when they get older. I'm really looking forward to just meeting new people, having a new family at college, hopefully getting to a sorority and having a whole bunch of sisters. I'm just really looking forward. Honestly, I really like school, so I'm really looking forward to going to college and having schoolwork to do and just boosting me up in my career. That's honestly what I'm looking forward to most. Okay, the advice I would give to my younger self is to definitely keep your friends big. It's really helpful to have somebody that you know in any situation, but also be ready for a lot of talking behind the back and don't get too butthurt about what people say, because really when they say it, they're just jealous of you and they don't actually hate you. They just want to be you. So
I definitely want to become a chef when I'm older, open a restaurant. Right now, my goal is to, when I'm older, to go to the Natural Gourmet Cooking School. I want to do like vegetarian, vegan cooking, because that's what I mainly eat now. So I want to open like a vegan restaurant when I'm older. Well, I guess I just really liked being grown up and using the stove the first time. I think the first thing I made was scrambled eggs. That was the first thing. I recently started making sushi, homemade sushi, and I really enjoyed that. And I also love to make ramen. I make ramen from like a scratch broth, and that's like one of my favorite things to cook. I like to watch stuff like The Great British Baking Show, Chopped, Nailed It. Those are things I like to watch. I also just like to read cookbooks. Right now I'm reading a book about chocolate. Just random books I can find about food and chefs and different parts of the kitchen. I'm still kind of bouncing around from different styles of food and cuisines and reading more about them.
I play games a lot. Sports, football, soccer. I played basketball in 7th grade. And that's about it.
Why is football your favorite? What's your favorite things about it?
the contact, the highlights and stuff like that, and the atmosphere too. I'm really proud of my football career because the plays I make, like the impact I have on the team.
Are there any things about your generation, like your age group, that you think people like me, your mom's age, like might misunderstand, that maybe we get wrong, or stereotypes about your age group that you think are like untrue, unfair?
I mean, we're all kind of like kept to ourselves. Like, we don't like immediately like blurt out like what we're feeling. If I don't talk to you, like that doesn't mean I'm ignoring you, but it means I just need time to think. Always make sure to like have some time for yourself. Like you can't always just be doing something. I hopefully see myself in college playing football. And I mean, growing to be a better person.
Kayla Childers, and I'm 16. Well, aside from dance, I love to read. Like, I have a bunch of books at home, so much that they don't fit on my bookshelf, even with about 20 books hanging on my wall. I was put into dance, I think around the age of 4. I don't really remember when I fell in love with it. I just remember always wanting to dance, and like, it always brought me joy. So, and then when I joined the competition team, I think that's when I was like really set in stone. Like, this is what I want to do in the future, because I loved being on stage more than once a year. So,
yeah,
I kind of do all the genres, some more than others. I do ballet, tap, point, hip hop, contemporary, lyrical, and then when I go to conventions, I'll either do jazz funk or ballroom, which we don't get as much training in. I would say my favorite's definitely lyrical, because I get to like express myself through that, but jazz is growing on me a lot. My favorite thing about dancing would probably be the emotional relief it gives me, because I don't talk about my feelings a lot and I can get very closed off, but dance is like a way for me to express myself and release all the emotional tension in my body and mind, because nobody's that happy all the time. And then we have the pressure from like adults, especially parents, to not make the same mistakes as they did and to be more successful to set up for the younger generations. And then we also have the social aspect to like fit into the societal norms that like everybody has a different normal, and so having the society like you have to have perfectly clear skin or that hourglass body is like a lot of pressure for something that's unrealistic. So I guess like older generations should like understand the pressure we're under and not necessarily take it easy on us, but understand where we're coming from when we are just having a bad day or want to sit in our rooms all day to disappear from the pressure of the outside world.
People have a lot to say about this generation. TWEEN is a chance for them to speak for themselves.
I feel like older generations don't understand or realize how much pressure is on my generation. We see people posting their happy, perfect lives because nobody posts like the struggles and like the downsides. And so we see that we kind of put pressure on ourselves to like have that perfect life, which is unreasonable and like unrealistic.
This time is full of so much growth and change and discovery and joy and excitement, and it also has a lot of pain and struggle and mistakes and learning curve and all of the things in between. They can be so many different people in such a short amount of time. When you tune out all the noise and stereotypes about this generation, their voices are there waiting to be heard.